jointer is for surfacing one face and one edge of your workpiece. It's used to, for example, remove a cup like this board has in here to make it nice and straight. Before using the planers, it's always worth going up to the dust collector to check that there's room in the dust bags, because planers create huge amount of dust. Up here at the dust collector, you should check that there's room in the bags. If the dust is somewhere around here, you should replace the bags and take them outside. Some bags for the dust collector are stored in the stairway next to the dust collector. Also, while you are on here, you should clean both of the filters on the dust collector by using these handles here. You should give them around 10 turns. After cleaning the filters and inspecting the bags, this button is for rearming the dust collector, because here is a timer that mandates inspections once a day. This little light in the box tells that the collector is now ready to use. The control buttons for turning on the dust collector. Green one in here top turns the collector on, and the bottom one turns it off. It also has an indicator lamp when it's on. And please close other gates for the dust collector before using the jointer. Table saw, belt sander. This is the main control panel for the machine. This is the main switch. Now it's turned on. Then we have the e-stop and stop switch and the start switch for the machine. This machine doesn't have a dedicated stop switch, so probably first thing that you need to do is to rotate the e-stop switch so that it pops out, and then you can start the machine by pressing the start button. This is the brake release for maintenance purposes, and if the brake is in the released position and this indicator has a light on it, the machine will not start if you push the start button. So you need to engage the brake. This is for adjusting the depth of cut. It has the scale, and the maximum is 8 millimeters, and minimum is 0, and you lock it by rotating the knob. Usually it's best to only take few millimeters at a time. And for work PCs, you want to make sure that it's long enough to plane safely. We recommended that work PCs are at least 40 centimeters long, so that it's safe to use the machine. And when choosing the orientation to do your facing, you should pay attention how stable the workpiece is. In this orientation, this board is very stable, but due to the cupping of the board, if I would try to machine it this way, it's very unstable, and that's not safe. This is the cutter head guard. It's spring-loaded for moving up and down and in and out. And if needed, you can adjust the hard stop for the guard from here by squeezing it and moving the guard in and out. It has a ramp here that's used to guide the guard away from your workpiece, and you can rotate it up or down depending if you are doing surfacing or etching. The card also has a lever for adjusting the height of it if you are doing batch processing of wood. When moving the card in and out, there's also a hinge here that you can use to make the card shorter and be less in your way. When doing that, it's important that the hard stop is in the non-hinge part. And for feeding the stock, you want to keep your hands on top of the workpiece. You can use a push block like this. This has handy stops on both ends that you can hook on the end of the board to make the feeding easier. You should never be pushing with your fingers from the end of the board, because this way your fingers might end up in the cutter head. These are the controls for setting the fence. This lever locks the fence moving in and out. What you need to be mindful is that the tip of the handle tends to catch on this piece of metal, preventing you moving it all the way in. So you might need to raise the handle a little bit when moving it in. This one is for adjusting the angle of the whole fence. You can tilt it up to 45 degrees. There's an angle readout in here, but it's a little bit hard to read, so it's best to use a straight edge for checking the fence before use, and if you need particular angle, it's better to use some kind of angle gauge to set it up. And for edging, be feeding the board against the fence. In this case, it's safe to have your hand on the top corner because it's far enough from the cutter head. For edging, helps to move the fence in. after using the machine, brush the tables clean from dust and then clean the floor around the machine. And you can use the dust collector to suck the stuff in.